This webinar, this Anexinet webinar covering omni-channel analytics. During this discussion, we're going to help you really better understand how companies are leveraging omni-channel to better understand their customer. We originally planned to spend about 1 hour during this webinar, but it's probably only going to take about 30 minutes. So we'll give you some of your time back this morning, on this Thursday morning. Towards the end of this presentation and also a demo, I'm also going to allow for a Q&A session to answer any questions, so feel free to submit those in the GoToWebinar app. And we will also have a survey at the end if you can complete, and those that do so can receive a $10 gift card from Starbucks. So yeah, great perk there. Would love your feedback. So my name is Mark Langsfeld. I'm the Vice President of Advanced Analytics here at Anexinet. I've been with the company for a little over 1 year. Anexinet acquired the company I came from, Listen Logic, before. This is about a year and a half ago, last January, and joined the team with our entire team here at Anexinet, and have been building out new commercial applications, including this omni-channel analytics dashboard and solution. So really look forward to today's conversation. Feel free to reach me, and I'll have my contact information also presented at the end anytime, and look forward to any conversations or pursuits to help you achieve your business outcomes. So companies have been coming to us over the last, I would say, 2 or 3 years with 3 core business outcomes in mind as it relates to leveraging their data. There's no question the first use case and business outcome they're trying to achieve is enhancing their customer experience. And this is across the board, looking at improving their net promoter scores, be it customer or patient-centric. This webinar, we're going to really focus more on CPG, consumer packaged goods, and food, and even have a couple of case studies and a demonstration to share in the vertical. So improving net promoter score, reducing customer churn, driving a long-term lifetime value are all things that clients are looking to achieve with their data. They're also looking to achieve operational efficiencies, reducing costs by leveraging their data to inform on insights that can really help them improve on the training, their processes with their people and workflow, and even technologies that their employees are using internally to provide a more efficient workflow. So that's really the second largest opportunity we're seeing as a business outcome to help clients. The other is helping them mitigate risk. So ensuring compliance, working, let's say, with the FDA to detect product quality issues from supply chain issues, manufacturing issues, quality, are all things that CPG and food are certainly very focused on. So there's certainly, while those are aspirational, there's certainly challenges as it relates to leveraging data within the enterprise today. There's no question consumer feedback, customer feedback has grown tremendously with all the different avenues that a customer can engage with. It's a data tsunami. As analysts, we are dealing with more data today that's both in the forms of unstructured and structured data. So being able to make sense of this, grab it all, bring it together has really been a challenge. More importantly, within enterprises, we see typically these data sets are in silos. So different units have responsibility for different types of workflow. You'll have a care organization, let's say a call center, maybe outsourced, that has their calls and call notes from customers calling into the contact center. You may have a different business unit deal with the email. There may even be a social engagement team. These are all different data sets that typically reside in silos, and so grabbing them together has just been a challenge, and bringing them all together has just been a big effort that's hard to achieve. So with that in mind, we developed a solution to bring all these separate siloed data sets together in one plain view. So we can grab your contact center voice, even do things like voice to text, and we'll get into that in a second, social media, chat, text, email, survey, and more importantly, integrate this unstructured data with CRM so we can really understand who the customer is and pinpoint different use cases like geography, segmentation, other types of pinpoint analysis to really make more sense of this information and make it much more actionable. 3 core use cases, again, helping you as a CPG or food company increase revenue through improving the customer experience, net promoter scores, CSAT improvement, looking at where there's, let's say low CSAT scores are, seeing what they have in common with all the other feedback we see to really give that lift. The other is reducing operational costs, so improving contact center efficiency by looking at where agents are struggling. Maybe there's idle time. Again, people, process, technologies, that's where that comes into play. And then the mitigating risk. So with that in mind, let's actually jump into a live demo where you can see the omni-channel analytics solution in action. So here's a summary page of our view. In this, you'll see it's a mock-up food company where we're talking about cookies, and you'll have different types of tabs, and we'll go over a couple of those shortly, as well as the summary page highlights reasons for, let's say, contacting the company, and that could be, again, contact center, social media, email, text, chat. We'll get into that. Trend, sentiment, even words, and then when I filter, you'll see down below the actual data points that the search results. So one example we'll just jump into here, and this is a key feature of the platform, is how we take your voice recordings that are typically stored somewhere. No one's looking at this other than maybe manual sampling and listening to them live. We can take all these voice recordings and transcribe them. So here's an example, one recording, and I'm just going to play this on the computer. Bear with me as I put my audio speakers on, and let's see if you can hear this.
Thank you for calling Acme Cookies. My name is Will. With whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
My name is Rachel.
And how may I help you today, Rachel?
I purchased your cookies last week at the supermarket, and they're awesome. But my son had a slight allergic reaction after eating them last night. We're pretty upset. Are there any nuts in your vanilla cookies?
So as you can see, this is a transcription where we break out both the agent and caller, client. With that, we can also jump from point to point. Perhaps, let's say I'll just jump into this client interaction where it would be great if you can send me some coupons.
That'd be great if you could send me some coupons.
Right, so being able to just pinpoint down to the point of the call is a really important feature, because what we're doing is mining all of this text with our lexical models and the filter and classification technology, we'll get into that shortly, to build out all these rich analytics on this view. So let's go through some use cases. Let's say I want to see issues relating to packaging, where packaging complaints are being discussed. Again, we're looking at all complaints through all different data sets. In fact, before I go there, just so we understand for this demo what we're looking at, let me jump into sources, where we're looking at calls from the contact center, chat from the care center. So these are just SMS, actually that's SMS text down below. Chat is a chat session, and then some small social media posts that we just sort of threw into this demonstration. So again, 4 different data sets plus CRM. Again, let me jump back into packaging containers or packaging issues. You'll see a spike. Ooh, let's jump into that particular view on the timeline in July. I can then jump right down and you'll see the actual cases, and then we can certainly go and click and listen to those phone calls. Furthermore, and this is where it gets to be pretty interesting as it relates to just pivoting, perhaps there's something in common with those interactions. Let's say we just want to jump in and see geographically where in that period of time in July where we saw a spike, where those complaints were happening. And you'll see that there is one cluster, almost in Erie, Pennsylvania. And again, that's where, hey, maybe there's an issue with supply chain, manufacturing issue in that region, and we see, basically customers complaining about product in that region regarding packaging. So that's just one example. We can also see geographically pretty much anything. So let's search for something. Perhaps it's people contacting the company looking for product or looking for availability of certain products in stores. So we can simply, we're categorizing all these requests under the topic product availability. So I can simply look for product availability, see that maybe, let's go jump into Pennsylvania since that's where we're based out of. See 3 examples during the period. We're again looking for certain product, and sure enough, when I click on this view, you'll see they're outside of Pittsburgh, specifically in Monroeville, and then in Sloven. Again, as a retail distribution, focal point of where customers are looking for product, this is a terrific, within 2 or 3 clicks, tool to see exactly where demand is throughout the region. We can also see product-wise, why are customers contacting the company across the board, look at a particular time, maybe it's people calling in during, let's say, July 5th, see not only what products they're calling in about, but also the types of reasons why they're contacting. And I can simply jump into a product, see that they're talking about it being soggy, and they're pretty unhappy with their cookies. The other analysis this tool allows us to do is really understand the emotion of our callers and customers through any data point. So are they frustrated? Are they fearful, sad? Are they grateful? All these beyond just sentiment are terrific lenses to better understand our customer, especially how we're doing as a company in these interactions. And so within one click, I can say, well, let's look for customers who are most upset about the appearance of our product. So you'll see there's a spectrum here of, from the left, it's like the most bad, so it's fearful, to the right, which is grateful. And then we have all the different reason codes we've categorized our interactions by. It's a taxonomy we have for different verticals. This one was built out for, again, a food company. But let's say I want to jump into upset customers who are focused on the appearance of our product. So sure enough, within one click, I can see that people are, obviously pretty upset about finding shortages of product in their packaging, so that maybe they were short on cookies, some were broken, and these are all people that were pretty upset about, again, things going wrong with the packaging in most cases. That was the use case there. So let me just jump into monitoring, which is our last example on this demonstration. Here's where we can look for pretty much bad stuff. So, in a real-time manner, we want to see maybe people calling in, customers calling in who are saying they're sick, or they think they got sick from the product. That's this widget right here. Maybe they're finding foreign material. Maybe it's a hair in the food or some type of foreign object in the food. That would be in this widget being detected. Perhaps there's some type of corporate or brand threat. And again, this could be reputational. That's where we would see this widget light up. And then, of course, maybe the website being down, or other, again, things that are pretty important to the company to be more proactive from a monitoring perspective. Let's jump into foreign materials. You'll see this, let's say it turns red, it'll start blinking if we start to see an uptick in that finding. Within a second, you'll see that there is in fact a spike regarding foreign materials. I can click on verbatims, see exactly what was found, click on a specific user, and then more importantly, see exactly where. And so this is where you'll see there's 2 clusters of people finding foreign materials in product. One is, again, outside of Erie, Pennsylvania, and the other looks like in between Los Angeles and San Francisco. So again, within one click, diagnosing kind of bad stuff and geographically understanding where they're occurring. This is a use case that we find all of our clients are leveraging today. It's a real-time sensing system. So within seconds, you can better understand exactly how to diagnose and put out fires. So that's the demo that we wanted to share with you this morning. Let me jump back into our presentation. So one case study, and you saw some of that maybe in the example of the demonstration, is one of the largest food manufacturers uses this system to detect product quality complaints and issues. Back in Q4, they detected people talking about staleness of their product. It was a baked good, and we saw a spike within like days of a certain region. It was in the Midwest region, and detected it. The alerts came out, emails started alerting us, notified the client that we saw this concentration within the country for a specific potential supply chain issue. They diagnosed it. In fact, it was a new plant that just came online to produce that product. They have about 6 or 7 assembly lines throughout the country. This was a new assembly line added, and there was in fact some issue with the supply line and the manufacturing process. One of the sealants wasn't sealing properly, and so we had some open bags. That was the example there. Again, real use case, supply chain diagnosis within minutes, not weeks or months being reactive. So when it comes to omni-channel analytics, we're looking for business outcomes. I mean, that's how clients today really want to use their data. So from a cost perspective of achieving operational efficiency, a contact center with doing maybe 1 million calls a year, if we are able to diagnose and see of these types of calls throughout the million, agents are typically struggling with maybe it's packaging complaints, maybe it's allergy issues, you name it. The system will automatically detect where agents are struggling or certainly taking longer to answer the question. If there's idle time, we'll do even further detection of that. So the opportunity when you see this in these analytics is that very quickly we can diagnose, is this the agent specifically? Is this something that all agents potentially are struggling with those use cases? Is this something that's a technology gap where maybe we could interface and provide a better way to get access to the information so that agents can more rapidly respond? The goal here is that we can reduce the average handling time of a contact, and again, through just better training, process, or technology. If we're able to reduce the average call time, let's say, or contact time by 62 seconds, or roughly a minute, we can save that company $750,000 a year through these, pure efficiency. So, almost like a 3 to 1x return on investment for the platform right there. We can also automate monitoring and quality monitoring efforts. Typically, most consumer packaged goods food companies are manually having analysts and other resources listen to phone calls, look for quality issues. The algorithms that we can create can actually automatically do this. So we can automate compliance, typically achieve savings, whereas instead of having people do this from a sampling point of view, we can automate, get 100% coverage of all data, look at all data for compliance, and report through that means. Again, nice cost savings opportunity there too. And the other is certainly achieving a higher net promoter score, CSAT, customer satisfaction score, where typically we're seeing 15 to 20% bumps by just looking at cases where net promoter scores are lower, and then we can see what about those lower scores? Why were they calling? What issues about the product? Maybe it's service related. Perhaps it's supply chain. Maybe it's price. You name it. But we can really diagnose that within seconds and then come back to our clients, or they can certainly do this themselves to see how they improve those use cases and give lift to overall NPS. So those are just sort of 3 core areas where we see dramatic ROI and real life outcomes. So the platform, just to speak about what's actually happening behind the scenes, this is an engine that both tags, scores, and categorizes unstructured data. And on the left side, you'll see that we can capture all different forms of coming in as surveys, both open ends and structured scores, CRM, chat, text, email, social media, and call center. Call center, we did the demonstration where we showed you voice to text. And then from there, what we do is we create classifiers. These are basically libraries, ontologies that we've built out models in. We actually have a library of literally thousands of models. They look for all the ways that people talk about, let's say, packaging. And it's an object-oriented language. It's not like a Boolean type of approach that allows us to do some very robust, complex filtering. And so with that, this is both from a streaming perspective and or batch to classify. From there, we can do things like integration with other data sets. So if you have, let's say, email addresses and extended data for demographics, we can append that. The NLP we do to really understand the emotion, the journey of, let's say, a call. So the beginning of a call, perhaps maybe the first third, really gives clues to why customers are calling. So it tends to be the primary reason of a call. Whereas towards the end of a call, let's say the last third, tends to be more of the call outcome. So that's really where machine learning NLP comes into play to understand the journey of, let's say, interactions. Is it improving? What are the outcomes of a call? Where did it start? To give much more insight into just performance overall from a care perspective. The output of this is sort of what you saw in the demo, where we can see reason codes, emotions, sentiment, geography, outcomes, and even the CRM record. This can be both delivered as a data service as well as an end-to-end visualization tool like we demonstrated. So perhaps your IT team has made some significant investments in visualization. If that's the case, terrific. What we can do is certainly create a data service where we'll work with your IT team to basically grab the data, enrich it, categorize it, send it back to you pretty much in real time, and then you can visualize within your data environment. Or if it's the kind of thing where the line of business wants to just grab the data from internal resources, we can bring it all together, create an end-to-end solution with visualization. So again, a key feature here from other text analysis tools, or certainly just call analytics tools, is that we're bringing together all forms of unstructured and unstructured data. So not just the unstructured notes, the feedback from the calls, surveys, but also CRM. And when we do that, we're able to do this, it's almost like a cube, a three-dimensional pivot, to allow us to see geographical pinpoints, to see customer segments, to really see how agents are performing across all channels, even like repeat contactors. So, we can see that John Doe has contacted us 5 times over the last year. Twice he's called, once he's emailed, and 2 times even posted about us on social media. So these are really, from a customer journey point of view, a terrific way of just marrying up that 360 view of a customer. You can't do it without integrating CRM. It's not possible. So that's a core feature of the platform to allow this full spectrum analysis. We've got deep vertical expertise. Again, today we're focusing on food and CPG. We are very, focused in other verticals, including financial and life sciences and healthcare, even manufacturing. So those are all verticals that we have domain expertise in and are, in the market with this product today. How do customers typically start? So let's say this is a terrific tool that maybe you think you can get value in. Often, in most all cases, we start out with a proof of concept. Typically, it's a 4 to 6 week process where we'll work with you to solve for some business outcome. Perhaps it's looking at complaints. Maybe it's something where we're going to improve NPS. Maybe it's going to be driving efficiency in the contact center, pinpointing to one of those outcomes and design a POC to solve for it within a 1 to 2 month time span. So again, learn how your data is available. We'll assess what type of forms, what type of formats it comes in. We'll then design a methodology and an environment to basically absorb and extract that information, and then develop basically the models, create the visualization, and then provide both the kind of like a demo environment that we just saw here in our demo, but with your data, as well as analysis to help you basically justify the investment with an ROI model to help you sell this into your key stakeholders. That's how we tend to roll out with these proof of concepts. It works really efficiently. We have a dedicated team on our side that basically marries and pairs up with your team to see the success of the program. So that's the high-level view of what we wanted to cover on the webinar today. What I'd love to do is open up to some questions that people have, and we can go through those one by one. All right, so let's see here. How long does a POC typically take? We did cover that. So again, that's 5 to, let's say, 8 weeks is typically what's involved. Usually it's a small nominal fee, mostly to cover our costs for things like voice-to-text transcription, processing. We often do find ourselves making an investment in this. We want to see this through to support your team and bringing in advanced analytics, solving specific business use cases and outcomes. And we just see it's an approach that works time and again. All right, so what are the primary use? So what is the primary use case you're solving for, and how does that? And what's the main ROI driver? Is the question. Good question. So I would say it's reducing contact time. So call duration is primarily the use case that we see up front. By looking at all of, let's say, the calls and contacts in this granular manner through automation, where we're categorizing all the reasons why one calls, not just the primary, but the secondary, tertiary, we see scenarios where agents are struggling. And it's not their fault. It's just the fact that maybe it's a training issue, system issue like we talked about. So by identifying these gaps of opportunity, we often see that we can, again, reduce the average handle time, let's say 1 minute to 2 minutes in most cases, which can give you your 3x return right there. I mean, that really pays for the program in and of itself. That's a good question. Do we need to engage IT with standing up this solution? Not in some cases, yes, where it's really we have to get access to data. They can be a partner with us in implementation. So if there's an IT effort underway to basically integrate unstructured and structured data, that's often where we work as a partner with IT. If it's something that the line of business is looking to gain access to these types of analytics as an end-to-end solution, again, all we need to do is really work with IT to get access to data, and then we can take it from there. So it's a hybrid type of an approach. What languages are supported with this platform? Good question. Right now we're supporting 5 EU, which again, English, French, German, Italian, and Spanish. So, primarily those are the main languages we see with demand. There are 15 other languages that we do support based on use case. So feel free to talk to us and we can get back to you with the types of languages that are definitely supported by the platform. Let's see, what is the pricing model for omni-channel? Great question. So this is a subscription managed service. We typically have a upfront small fee to do modeling, assessment, that can be absorbed with the POC, but certainly some effort to customize the solution for your specific line of business or vertical if needed. And then basically it's a monthly subscription thereafter based on data consumption. So we look at annual records that are being consumed, and that really drives the pricing model on a monthly basis thereafter. So yeah, great question, and that's how the pricing model works. Any other questions? Looks like those are the questions at the moment. Let me wrap up and say, definitely let's fill out, please fill out the survey at the end of this. It'd be terrific if you could do so, and you'll receive your $10 Starbucks gift card. Any questions that you didn't have a chance to answer in this webinar, or certainly have something that maybe is more confidential that you want to get our feedback or point of view on, feel free to contact me at any time. This is my email address, phone number. More than happy to just workshop, whiteboard a scenario that you're thinking about solving, or potentially coming in with something more towards a POC or even a full implementation to solve your business use case. So really appreciate the time. Hope everyone found this very informative. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions, and hope you have the great rest of the day this Thursday morning.